Welcome to the Red Wing Saloon, friends. I'm sorry to tell you I can't serve you a drink today. We're in the midst of Prohibition. A sad time for this country. Prohibition is an idea that goes back to colonial days, and doggone it, took them almost 200 years, but they finally got it done. We now can't have a drink, at least not legally. So how'd that happen? Well, I suppose there's a couple of organizations that were around during the 1800s who really got things cooking. Women's Christian Temperance Union being one of them, and the Anti-Saloon League being another. And they worked hard. They agitated in Washington and across the country, and maybe you heard about one of their more famous members. Her name was Carrie Nation. And she did her business not so much in the halls of Congress as in the halls of drink. She came in with an axe and broke places up, especially around Kansas. So we didn't like Carrie Nation. And in fact, we had a slogan here at the Red Wing Saloon back when. We said, all nations welcome except Carrie. So was everybody on the up and up? Was this all legal? All this drinking and distilling and brewing? Well, not really. There were companies that tried to take advantage of things. For example, Duffy's Pure Malt Whiskey. They tried to get around the liquor tax by selling this product as a medicine. And in fact, they even put out this little pocket mirror here. And it says, take Duffy's Pure Malt Whiskey when you are not looking well. So you can reflect on that. But of course, they got caught. And the government said, no, you can't do that. You're booze, you're not medicine. So eventually they had to change their ways. Well, of course, there are other companies out there selling medicine steep deep in liquor. One example being, if you'll excuse me, I'm just going to reach in here for a product called bitters. Now today, bitters can't have a lot of alcohol in it because of Prohibition. But a few years ago, look at here, 21%. That's a lot of booze for something that's supposed to be good for you. And these were kidney and liver bitters. They're supposed to cure your ailments. Well, I'm not sure they did a very good job of that with all that booze. So, before Prohibition, there were hundreds and hundreds of saloons, both here and across the state and, of course, across the nation. But when those congressmen finally got it in their head over in Washington to get things done, it didn't take them too long. They passed a resolution in about 1918, said, we're going to see if we can get this ratified into an amendment. And they worked on it for about a year, and finally 36 states did ratify in January of 1919. Then they wrote the Volstead Act. Oh, and that was written, by the way, by Senator Volstead of Minnesota. He came from right here in Goodhue County. Well, he wrote up an act that kind of defined what was legal and what wasn't, and what the penalties would be. And boy, didn't have to go too far, 0.5% before it was considered an alcoholic beverage, an intoxicating beverage. It was not allowed. So they wrote up this bill, and it took effect in January of 1920. Well, that was a sad time for a lot of us. Think of all the people that put out of business: distillers, brewers, saloon keepers, barrel makers. They all had to find other work. It was such a sad time that they even wrote a song about it. The whole January. You're going to be worse than July.
You're going to be worse than July.
Well, it also affected the Red Wing potteries here in this little town. And you know that in January 1910 alone, the ledgers of the Red Wing Union Stoneware Company indicated that they were making over 6,000 advertising jugs a month. just for the liquor dealers. These are examples here. This company, the Sandell brothers, they ordered 1,000 of these jugs in October of 1906, just in that 1 month. The Michaud brothers ordered 500 one-gallon jugs in 1906, just in November. And in February of 07, the Sterling Wine House ordered 1,000 of these half-gallon jugs. So that kind of gives you an idea of just how many of these they were making that time. And you know what? That slowed down production here. The potteries had to turn to other things. Now they were still making plenty of jugs, and maybe some of those eventually found their way into some moonshine camps. It's possible. And you know, you can even hear the demolition. They're going to tear this saloon down. Doggone it. And I'm sorry to say, but pretty soon this will be level ground and they'll put something else up here. Now, you know, I have to find other work too. I had to close my saloon and I have to go somewhere else and go to work. And I've been thinking maybe I'd be a poet. I wrote this little ditty. See what you think. Here's to good old Eve, the mother of us all. She wrote, wore no clothes, fig leaves, that's all. Here's to dear old Adam, with his back against the wall. He says there'll be something doing when the leaves begin to fall. So I'm going to leave you with that thought, friends. We've got Prohibition. We're a dry state, we're a dry country, and we could all use a good drink. But I did want to tell you one little story. There was a time when a women's Christian temperance union woman came into this saloon before we closed. And she was protesting strong drink. She made almost as much noise as the demolition guys were doing. And she was carrying this sign. Lips that touch liquor will never touch mine. That apparently was their slogan. Well, we didn't like her and her sign coming into our saloon, so we took her sign away, showed her the door, and kissed her goodbye. Thanks, friends. We seeing you down the road. Well, hi, folks. Billy the bartender here. You might remember me from the Red Wing Saloon. Yeah, had that saloon for a long time. And might mention I slaked a lot of thirst there, but my own and other people's too. But you know, Prohibition come and we had to move on. They demolished the place. And, well, I had to find other work. So I started to write some poems, but you know, that didn't pay very well. You maybe remember I wrote a few of them, recited them at the saloon. But here's one I wrote since then, because it has to do with what I'm up to today. You see, I guess they call me a moonshiner. I just couldn't leave the hospitality business. So I'm still involved in the production and the distribution of alcoholic beverages. And that's what this poem is about. Mother's in the kitchen, washing out the jugs. Sister's in the pantry, bottling up the suds. Father's in the cellar, mixing up the hops. Johnny's on the front porch, watching for the cops. How'd you like that one, huh? Well, I know I'm not going to make much business with writing poems, but you know what? There's other things a fella can do. Excuse me, I'm getting a little thirsty. Oh, that goes down so smooth. And you know why? Well, I'll show you. It's made from good old Goodhue County corn. We're making corn liquor here. Now, you know, Minnesota actually became kind of famous here recently for its production of corn liquor, especially up in Stearns County where they produce something called Minnesota 13. Oh, it's famous across the country for being high quality. Well, we're not quite up to that standard, but we make a pretty good product here in Goodhue County. And you know, we got to get it out to the country, to the state, across state lines sometimes, and it's kind of hard to distribute it the way we'd like in fine old glass bottles. So, you know, we got another way to do it, and we're relying on the Red Wing Pottery again. They ain't making the stoneware with an advertisement on it anymore that says this is the Michaud Brothers or the Sandell Brothers liquor, but they're still making plenty of jugs in all kinds of sizes, from quarts on up to 5 and 10 gallons. So this is our preferred method of distribution these days. We're putting it in stoneware jugs. And then it gets sent off. And we send it off all over the country. So, how good is it? Well, like I said, we're maybe not the Stearns County level yet, but it's good enough that I think that if they had a prize at the Minnesota State Fair for liquor, we'd get a blue ribbon. Well, sad to say they never have had that competition, and now with Prohibition, chances are even slimmer. But I can tell you this, we're going to keep making it using these beautiful stills out here in the woods. Please don't tell anybody you saw me here. And we're going to put the goods in the jugs, and you be watching for it. It'll come off a wagon near you right soon. So thanks, friends, and here's looking at you.